Most Americans have never heard of Reynolds American or their parent company, British American Tobacco, but you know the brands they own, like Camel, Newport, Pall Mall, Views, Grizzly, and Natural American Spirit. It's time to expose them, their companies, and their far-left agenda. When you buy their products, you are funding one of the most aggressively woke agendas in corporate America, and I have brought the receipts today. Let's start with Pride. Reynolds American did not just quietly support Pride. They were a top sponsor of the Winston-Salem Pride Parade, a parade with drag queens, a foam party for kids, and scenes like this that kids were exposed to. And yes, these are Reynolds American employees with trans flags and allyship signs front and center at the parade. In case you think maybe this is some rogue employees, here's the company promoting the event as part of their, quote, commitment to DEI. The company also lit up its headquarters in Pride colors for Pride Month. Beyond Pride events, their LGBTQ+ employee group contributes to a company-wide LGBTQ+ education. They push for, quote, more inclusive benefits. And they even did trans progress flag raisings at the company sites that you see here. Not to be outdone, British American Tobacco, or BAT as they like to call themselves, I prefer batshit crazy, sponsored London Pride, walked in Tokyo Pride, and lit up their headquarters as well. They also highlighted the story of a trans employee for everyone to read on their website, and they brag about their support for so-called gender-affirming care, which they aim to put in their entire global benefits package by next year. And they even went the extra mile by creating a, quote, allyship guide for the entire company. Oh, and British American Tobacco is big on virtue signaling Pride and trans flags. Both companies brag about how high their scores are on the woke CEI scoring system from the HRC, who is a far-left activist group that supports sex changes for kids. This scoring system literally exists to just virtue signal about how woke you are, and apparently both companies are passing with flying far-left colors. If their agenda isn't clear enough, their vape brand Views launched a, quote, Be Ever You drag queen ad campaign, complete with drag queen spokespeople. Don't believe me? Watch this.
I definitely believe that because of my interest in fashion and because that kind of grew, I kind of then filtered into drag, and I filter my fashion also through my drag, and I believe that my drag inspires my fashion and my fashion inspires my drag. That's why I am the drag queen that I am today.
For that one, they got recognized at the Unite South Africa Awards for their, quote, LGBTQIA affirming work. That's just the appetizer, though. At Reynolds American and British American Tobacco, DEI is the main course that they're focused on. Don't believe me? Watch this.
We've set diversity and inclusion ambitions as part of our ESG strategy by 2025 to increase our female representation across management to 50% and our minority representation to 25%. For the past 3 years, Reynolds has received a 100% in the Human Rights Campaign's Corporate Equality Index, qualifying us as the best place to work for LGBTQ+ equality.
Are you ready for more crazy? Reynolds American literally tracks every promotion by gender and ethnicity. Their employees do woke unconscious bias training, and they have, quote, inclusive leadership training for managers. They also have big goals for what I see as racial quotas with an explicit goal that they state over and over and over again to increase the hiring of minorities at a higher percentage instead of just hiring based on merit. If you're wondering how this doesn't violate the civil rights laws that say companies cannot hire on the basis of race, well, so am I. As part of their, quote, progressive programs and policies, they've also instituted gender-neutral bathrooms at the company. They aren't alone, though. Their parent company, British American Tobacco, also explicitly states racial and sex-based hiring goals. No company can do this and pretend to care about merit. Reynolds American even brags about creating, quote, safe spaces as part of their DEI agenda. Both Reynolds and British American Tobacco also have employee resource groups where they divide their employees on the basis of race, sex, and what kind of sex they like to have. The only groups that don't seem to have a group are white people, men, and straight people. Everyone else seems to have an employee resource group dividing each other on the lines of identity politics. Their training's woke too. In fact, British American Tobacco brags on their site that over 16,000 of their employees have undergone Mastering Inclusion training. And in 2024, they launched the, quote, Truly Inclusive Leaders program to, quote, further develop DEI mindsets and behaviors to enhance psychological safety and inclusivity. That sounds totally not like mind control. Now let's meet some of the people behind this push. First up is Borgia Walker, the Senior Vice President of Human Resources and Inclusion at Reynolds American. In her words, Reynolds' diversity and inclusion is a thread that runs through everything we do and how we do it, and it is not just a box that we're checking or a corporate exercise. In that same release, the company again explicitly writes down that they are targeting a hiring, quote, target of 25% minorities in management jobs for 2025. Think you can work there and escape the far left agenda? Well, think again. Ms. Walker says, quote, all employees are made aware of the organization's progress toward DEI ambitions. She took part in a diversity roundtable sponsored by Reynolds American, where she said that, quote, diversity is crucial for us to be able to transform. And she later bragged about their Women in Leadership program and a special Black employees program. No mention of one of those special programs for men or other races, though. At the end of this roundtable, she let us know that Reynolds holds what she calls, quote, inclusive dialogues, which are discussions where employees can, quote, discuss fears. Is that like a bring your psychological problems to work day? I'm not sure I've seen that one before. Next, we have Reynolds American CEO David Waterfield. He led the charge as Reynolds has, in the company's words, quote, radically redefined their organization as they look to, quote, change an entire industry by embracing DEI. Unlike others who try to hide it, at least they're sort of honest about their activism. In this DEI piece on their website, they explicitly talk about making employees, quote, change agents for this DEI agenda. On David's bio page, British American Tobacco even points out how critical Reynolds American is to their ESG commitments, which includes DEI and climate change. Also, don't let the company names fool you. Despite their dominance in the US market, most of the leadership at both companies aren't even American. So it really shouldn't surprise you to learn that when asked about Trump's executive orders killing DEI, British American Tobacco CEO Tadeu Marroco reportedly told Reuters that he doesn't expect to change any of their DEI policies. Oh, and don't let the woke PR push distract you from the fact that British American Tobacco had to pay $629 million to settle charges of helping North Korea evade sanctions, or the fact that they've been accused by lawmakers of flouting the law so that they can monopolize the vape market by pushing out small businesses. Bottom line is this: every time you buy Camel, Newport, Pall Mall, Views, Grizzly, or Natural American Spirit, you're not just buying tobacco. You are funding a company that is pushing radical gender theory, transgenderism, pride, DEI, racial hiring targets, and climate change activism. Are you okay with your money supporting this? If not, it's time to rethink where you spend and call out Reynolds American and British American Tobacco for their so-called progressive policies. Both companies and all of the brands they own should immediately end these divisive, racist policies and embrace corporate neutrality, where companies stop allowing themselves to be the ping pong balls based on who wins an election every 4 years. This isn't hard stuff. Just get out of the business of division and identity politics. Be a company for everyone by just making the products you make and providing great service. Save the activism for your personal time. If you agree, tag these brands and tell them to end these crazy policies. The people have had enough, and frankly, we're not going to stop speaking out about it. I'm Robby Starbuck, and until next time, keep up the good fight.